Are you sick and tired of gynocentric entertainment that depicts men as incompetent pussies? Go balls deep inside an underworld of evil, lust, and violence with Invictus Rex. A launch pad for a series of thrillers written for the kind of politically incorrect men who love detonating truth bombs in the culture war. Get your copy today on Amazon. A link is in the description.
What's up, you Green Bay fudge packers? Terrence Popp here, Redonkulous.com. Is it just me, or did we retire that term way too soon? Just like getting cornholed. Now it's a game and children play it, oh my god. Don't you touch those beanbags. You don't know what hole they've been in. Oh fuck, you did it. Hand sanitizer now, bitch. God damn it! I don't know what just happened. I went way off in the weeds right there. But hey, Good Pop showed up, and I got some good news for you. Let's drink. If you came here today for some kid-friendly entertainment, you sure as shit came to the wrong place, Screen 5. And if your name is Lauren Craig, you better buckle up, because I got bad news for you, baby. This article has sealed your doom. Oh, because 40 to 80 is a long fucking time. So gentlemen, take heed and don't you dare give this woman your seed. Pour yourself a menagerie because the stupid is about to begin. Yeah. In a nutshell, this overweight Heffalo went on the Wendy Williams show, and this is what took place.
So I'm gonna level with you. I only date wealthy guys. Only. And some of my friends judge me. They say I'm too picky. I want to settle down one day, but at this point, you gotta have the ching-ching. So should I lower my standards?
Yes! Yes! Go ugly early, baby. You are running out of time.
What do you have to offer? How old are you?
Holy shit. Does this Wendy have a dick, Screen 5? Those are some rational questions, and I never expect that from a woman. Oh my god. Space Ghost is on.
I am 38 years old.
38 years old? Holy shit, you have hit the wall, baby. You're done.
When people ask me, what do I bring to the table? I say, I am the table.
What the hell's going on? This isn't the Matrix. There is no table, and there is no spoon. The only thing going on here is the vacuum-packed meat in your brain pan. You smell that? That meat starting to spoil, or it could just be your cooter.
Should you lower your standards? No, but and take this in the best way. I think you need to grow up and understand that sometimes good things, and nobody wants a broke man, you know what I mean? Yeah. But there's something in between.
She is absolutely right. Just because you don't like it doesn't make it any less true. The truth is not an insult, and reality is not an attack. And you can buy that t-shirt on patrolbase.net.
Little does she know, only a fully grown woman can make that declaration I did and mean it.
You misspelled overgrown entitled child. You can go ahead and fix it. And yeah, use whiteout. It's not racist or anything.
Now I'm assuming in the paragraphs that you have left, you are going to explain exactly what the hell you're talking about.
To provide some context, which many, including a barrage of online trolls, completely missed. At this age, I'm old enough to have lived the struggle-love fantasy more than once.
First of all, we're not missing anything. We understand that you got left at the station while your fertility train took the hell off for Cleveland. And you gotta love how she refers to it as the struggle-love fantasy. Kinda sounds like some of that kinky alternative porn. Not that I would know anything about that, Space Ghost. It's called sleeping around. It's nothing new, and you are not fooling anybody. You have clocked over 500 miles of Mr. Right on your GPS. In your case, it most definitely does not mean good pussy syndrome. Screen 5. Do you smell that? Smells like fish, bad decisions, and irony. The same women who bitch about slut shaming will never admit to sleeping around. They always dress it up to be something that it's not.
I have to stay single for a while. I need time to find myself.
In other words, you want to get run through like a fencing dummy. And it's not the Olympics.
Because of that, I have finally awakened to the understanding that pure self-preservation requires both higher standards and higher boundaries in my dating life.
So in other words, you're not content to be alone. You want to be miserable and alone. Well, good luck with that. Make no mistake, this woman knows that Tier 1 men don't want anything to do with her. And she hates the options that are available to her.
Yeah! Yes!
This woman couldn't sperm jack an incel, let alone attract a top tier man. But instead of admitting why she is actually alone, she has to dress it up with I have high standards and I'm not gonna lower them. Wah! You're not fooling anyone. Even Stevie Wonder can see you're full of shit. Blake, is he dead?
No.
Winning!
You realize just how much you're worth, and as a result begin to take more care in deciding who does and who does not get access to your magic.
Well, magic loses a lot of its luster when you pull 1,000 dicks out of the hat. Screen 5. You're not being picky about who you sleep with now. You just ran out of options. All through high school, college, and law school, Chad Thundercock was at your disposal. And you were the idiot who thought that was gonna go on forever. Now you're 38 and you are far past fucked, figuratively and literally.
This shift can happen at any age, but many of us come to this realization too late.
And that realization is this. You quite literally fucked yourself. You blew all of your best years, pun intended, on the cock carousel. And now you're just another sad casualty on the other side of the wall. Too bad, so sad, triple corn dog, wham. And here's the best part. No one gives a fuck. In fact, they are out the door before you can even put your bra back on.
Only after we've been drained emotionally, financially, and or spiritually by a member of the Ashy Association or the Dusty Delegation.
You're not the one being drained here. In fact, you have been doing the draining. Probably 1,000 ball sacks between New York and LA. Planned Parenthood just called. Your next abortion is free. Screen 5.
That being said, it is never too late to wake up to your power as a woman and demand your worth.
I'm sure your last pap smear agrees with you.
Abby normal. Abby normal.
Would you ever fuck a zombie?
Bad Pop's got bad news. The end? It's extremely fucking nigh.
You can't kill something that's already dead.
And the only thing standing in between you and a horde of the undead is toxic masculinity. Weh? So hold on to your butts and get set for Red Days. Get your copy on DVD or Blu-ray on Amazon today. A link is in the description, bitches.
It's a right provided to them by the queen.
Fuck her, she's a whore.
Which is why Wendy's second question is so infuriating.
Questions are only truly infuriating when the answers are lies. Women pull this shit all the time when they get into fights with us. Instead of answering the question, they get indignant and pull shit like this.
How could you ask me that? Where?
They want to make you feel so bad for asking that question that you will drop it entirely. Don't fall for that bullshit, and don't you dare fall for this woman's bullshit.
As a connoisseur of the online dating arts,
you just admitted you had more harpoons thrown at you than Moby Dick. Screen 5. You've had more salty nuts dropped into your lap than a Parkinson's patient on an airplane. And yes, I realize how fucked up that joke was, and because of it, we're not getting a lick of money from YouTube. So please, go to redonkulous.com/donate, send us a couple bucks so we can keep being non-PC, if you know what I mean.
The what do you bring to the table line of questioning is a popular male response to any slight indication on a woman's part that she's expecting more than a cup of coffee and a hard penis.
It worked for you in college, huh? Screen 5. Baby, I don't know if you realize this, but you are 38 now. Do you know what that means? If your Waxworks was a PC, it would be running Vista.
The response, I am the table, is my way to communicate concisely that yes, I have it all. Beauty, brains, credentials, etc. So you should actually be trying to impress me, not the other way around.
Okay, we're gonna make a few corrections here. We're gonna cross out beauty and brains. That leaves us with credentials and, oh yeah, etc. Well, I can't stick my dick in credentials and I can't blow my load on etc. So that leaves us with, you're fucked.
Of course, I could rattle off the fact that I'm a Spelman grad. I have a law degree, am a successful entrepreneur, a marketing professional, glam ambassador of Newark, author of 100 Things to Do in Newark Before You Die, yoga teacher, and a bad bitch.
Congratulations! You spent a majority of your adult life becoming the antidote to male attraction, Screen 5. And congratulations on earning a 4-year degree. You got the equivalent of a participation trophy from higher education. And you think people give a fuck because you're a celebrity in Newark, New Jersey? That's like being the smartest kid with Down syndrome. I know I'm getting the express elevator to hell. Oh look, Space Ghost is on.
But does any of that define me or somehow entitle me to a high-quality man? Absolutely not.
Whoa! We just agreed. Cheers.
I could be a circus clown, no disrespect to circus clowns, irrespective of my size, age, or color. I have the freedom to demand a certain standard and pursue relationships with men that have reached a certain level financially.
That woman is completely correct.
Right.
You know what's coming next, but that doesn't mean she's gonna find it. And even if she does, she's not even good enough to be a smash and dash. Miss Craig, you're pushing 40, and your fertility window slams shut harder than the time lock at the bank. Your sexual market value is plummeting faster than a piano out of the sky. The men you're looking for want nothing to do with you. They're either married to younger women who still have their fertility, or they've already been divorce raped, they've taken the red pill, and they have joined the ranks of MGTOW. Or number 3, they're not into banging fatties, and normally I would say, wah, but in this case I'm gonna say,
Because really, what are the requirements for dating a wealthy man?
Now lady, I know you're not gonna like this, but I'm gonna jam a red pill right down your throat. And you should be used to that by now. If you are single and dating, man or woman, you have 2 types of value that apply to you. Sexual market value and relationship market value. Women seem to think they're the same thing. And to quote Yoda, that's why you fail. And the reason why they conflate the 2 is because sex is the absolute top tier of what they have to offer. As a woman, your value peaks hard in your 20s, if you know what I mean. The 4 main things that define your value are as follows: beauty, youth, fertility, and femininity. And if we're gonna write a check against you, you better be able to handle your own shit, have loyalty, trust, and respect. And through this whole shit sucker of an article, Miss Craig doesn't demonstrate any of those traits. Geez, I wonder why she's single. Perhaps she should eat another gallon of ice cream and think about it.
I am the table.
You spend your 20s throwing it all the way with the simple attitude,
I'll always have time.
until that one day when you're 38 and go,
Holy shit! Why am I still single? I'm gonna sit down behind my computer and write an article about why I'm the prize.
newsflash, honey, men are the prize. And that's why 40-year-old men don't waste their time writing articles like this. And even if they did, it would be just as pathetic as yours.
If I looked like an Eastern European supermodel or was an A-list celebrity, would Wendy have posed the same question? Did anybody wonder what credentials Ellen Nordegren had in order to date and marry Tiger Woods? What about Melania Trump or Salma Hayek? Of course not.
Because credentials don't mean shit when it comes to male attraction. Just because women find money, credentials, and power attractive does not mean men do. Men are looking for a companion to complete their lives, not give them more of the same shit that they already earned. 2 cooks in the kitchen makes for one shitty lasagna. I'm gonna show you a picture of this Wamalo next to all the pictures of the whammon she's comparing herself to.
One of these things is not like the others. One of these things doesn't belong. Can you tell which thing?
What makes me or you any less worthy to date and marry someone of a higher income bracket?
A higher weight bracket. Oh, Space Ghost.
To go even deeper.
Blake, she just said deeper.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah!
The table question is offensive on its face.
That's why we turn you over on your belly on that table so we don't have to look you in the face.
Because it puts a woman who by nature takes anything a man gives her and improves on it.
What? I'm sorry, what?
In the position of having to defend her worth to a perfect stranger based on random qualifications like looks, credentials, or freak number.
If you're asking a man to stake his entire future on you, you better be able to answer those questions and pass.
Whenever that question is posed, I now know that you've sized me up and have determined that what little you know or see so far is not enough. So you need a list of additional qualities that I'm offering in order to take me seriously.
First of all, you just contradicted yourself in those 2 sentences. Holy shit, that is impressive. You're pissed off that men are judging you on your looks. And then you're pissed off that your looks aren't enough. Please pick a dick and tell me which one it is. More cock! Second of all, it is the same if you're a 10 or a 2. I have gone out with women that were drop dead gorgeous. They were so hot, my dick was pounding on my own belly. But as soon as they open their mouth, I'm like, yeah, this shit ain't gonna work. But we need to go back to the beginning of this paragraph because this bitch pissed me off. A woman's nature is to take what a man gives her and improve on it. African American gentlemen, please. That used to be a woman's nature, and then feminism came along. Now, a Western woman's nature is to take everything a man gives her and offer nothing in return, and then ask for more.
At this point, you gotta have the ching-ching.
Revolutionary concept to some, but these are the facts.
That is a real powerful word, facts. Too bad it doesn't mean what you think it means.
The whole reason men are driven to get up every day, go to work, have successful careers, and make a lot of money is so that they can afford to impress women and date/marry the dream girl of their choosing.
Bullshit! Men don't pursue those things because of whammon. We do it because it fulfills us. And it's just a fringe benefit that women seem to flock to that shit like a moth to flame. I did 33 years in the military, and I would do it all again, and not for any pussy. Men who do everything in the pursuit of pussy are blue-pilled. In fact, they're manginas, and I made a whole episode about it. Here it is. And here's the secret, Lauren. Those dudes don't get laid, and if they do, they get the leftovers, kind of like you, Screen 5.
So it goes without saying that the woman is the table.
If the woman is the table, you don't have a leg to stand on, biatcha.
What that means is a woman simply is worthy, and that has nothing to do with how many degrees she has.
Let me get this straight. In your narbipobagistic bizarro world where garbage is money, all you need to do to attract a top-tier man is exist and have a pussy. Miss Craig, you are wronger than 2 boys fucking from the tabernacle choir during church.
Our value is intrinsic and intangible.
Oh, this bitch is still talking. Good thing Space Ghost is on.
It's in the peace you feel when we're around, the joy you get from making us happy, and the diamonds that spring from our womb should we choose to bless you with our children.
So you can lock us in the baby jail and hold us hostage for 18 to 21 years? Suck my dick. And don't tell me you don't do that, because once you get to 31, What's 32? This stupid bitch thinks just because you're a woman, that's enough. Never mind personality, agreeability, and femininity. I don't even know where to begin. Now, I used to think Amy Wharton was the most fucking crazy bitch out there.
Nope, never mind.
But this woman, she takes the cake and eats the tablecloth on the way out.
If you have a hard time understanding this, you're either a woman who has been socialized to think that you need to go above and beyond in order to get and keep a man. It's the other way around, sis. Or you're a man who's not a provider and is instead looking for a woman to help you, aka cook, clean, provide live-in sex, have your babies, raise your babies, do all the emotional labor of sustaining the relationship, and pay half the bills.
I am going to destroy your entire worldview with just a couple of sentences. So I hope you brought some Kleenex. Wham! Ladies, no matter what Cosmopolitan tells you, you're not the prize. We are. You decide who you bang. We decide who we marry. Which one of those two has more long-term value? There's a reason why women in their 30s write so many articles about where have all the good men gone? Wham! And I already answered that question with a whole episode. Here it is. Check it out. This paragraph, in a nutshell, is the river of denial. It can't be your fault that you believe the lie of feminism. It has to be someone else's fault. And any man who doesn't agree with you, he's not a real man. He's a man baby. Wah. And the women out there who don't agree with you, they're happy. Something that you will never be, Screen 5.
Good luck to you guys. As for me and my dating life, I have made a conscious choice not to settle, but I've learned once you settle, you end up getting even less than what you settled for.
Especially if they agree to marry you, Screen 5.
Still convinced that love is the only thing we need? How about some stats?
If you mean cherry-picked anecdotes that reinforce your delusions, I'm all ears.
Black women are the most educated group in America.
But still not smart enough to keep a husband or have a child in wedlock. You're not fooling anyone. You're not even smart enough to put Twinkies down and push away from the table. You fat fuck. You're so fat, when you were in school, you sat next to everybody. You're so fat, the last dude that banged you probably slapped you on the ass and rode the wave in, if you know what I mean. Hell, your gynecologist needs to roll you in flour just to find the wet spot, and half the time it's your armpit. Oh shit! Oh shit! Dude, did you hear that? Did you hear that? We just bought our tickets on the express train to hell for our walkthrough.
But we are still not on track to get equal pay until the year 2124.
You go from how educated you are to how useless education is in one sentence. Because truly educated people don't believe in the wage cap because it's been debunked more times than Santa Claus. And if you don't believe me, we made whole episodes about it using facts, logic, and reason. Here it is, check them out.
Then black women leave college with more debt than women of any other race.
And that would be because you're stupid, Screen 5. You have every possible leg up over every student in that university.
When you have white people pretending to be black because it means they'll get a leg up in life, your argument is invalid.
Whose fault is it that you spent $100,000 on your 4-year degree and your law degree that you don't even use? Why practice law to pay off that debt when you can be a glambassador for New Jersey? Wham!
And to make matters worse, college-educated black women are less likely than any other groups to practice assortative mating, and that is the decision to marry a man with a similar level of education.
Sounds to me someone has a cultural problem and not a racial problem. Triple corn dog wah with mustard. Stings your butthole. But regardless of culture, black women are bottom of the barrel in the sexual marketplace. Newsflash, honey! Having an education does not mean you're intelligent.
Our non-black peers are practicing it at higher rates than we are, which is contributing to both the wealth gap. White families have nearly 10 times the net worth of black families.
Because they have 1/3 of the single mothers.
And also, the phenomenon of downward intergenerational mobility in black families, middle-class black children are more likely than their white counterparts to become poor adults.
That might have something to do with the fact that 75% of them are raised by single mothers, but hey, what do I know?
These stats are horrifying.
You want to know what is horrifying? Calling something a stat and then providing no notation or source whatsoever.
Ah! You fucking cunt!
And yet, black women are still seen as selfish, superficial, or gold diggers if we decide to set a standard for our dating life that other women wouldn't blink an eye at. This is not about using anyone for a come-up. It's about wealth building for the next generation and the one after that.
Stop dressing up your narcissism with benevolence because no one's falling for it. You don't give a flying fuck about wealth building for the next generation because you don't have any kids and you're not gonna have them.
Is your mommy a big fat idiot?
All you really care about is what your fat ass thinks you deserve. The only thing you deserve is a triple bypass because you pulled the pin on the fat grenade. And that, I'm sorry to say, has nothing to do with what color you are. But I realize that that is real important to you because without racism, you wouldn't have a reason to live. When?
That is so mean. It's time as black women that we level up not just in our careers, but in our romantic relationships as well.
How dare you assume my gender and race? But luckily for you, today, I identify as a black woman, Screen 5. And I'm not sure if you're keeping score, but that makes me stunning and brave. Wah. Holy shit, we are turbo dicks. But if you want to reward us for being dicks, go to patrolbase.net and pick yourself up some swag.
To do so, you don't have to focus solely on super rich men, but assortative mating requires that you date and marry out rather than down.
Don't you mean marry up? Perhaps you should have an editor look at your shit before you feed us this dribble.
And no, money isn't everything, but we just marked Equal Pay Day 2018, the day each year when the gender pay gap is highlighted and women are encouraged to demand what they are worth and negotiate salaries accordingly.
I love how you say money isn't everything, but you refuse to date a man who earns less than you.
Ladies, I'm here to tell you that you should keep that same energy when it comes to your romantic partnerships.
And you two can grow old, sour, and miserable just like Miss Craig. Because misery loves company, right?
Marriage is a business.
I'm glad you finally admit that. In fact, it is true and has been since the beginning of time.
So you should go into with the knowledge that if things don't work out, you'll be better off or similarly situated as you were prior to marriage, not worse.
Because your plan is to take half his shit and get pussy payments for the rest of your life because, you know, you can and vagina. I don't know if you realize this or not, Miss Craig, but that makes you a horrible person.
Love comes and goes, but community property is forever.
Did I just call you a terrible person? Let me rephrase that. You are a repugnant cunt.
So, men, please do us all a favor and stop asking women what they bring to the table.
No, you fat bitch. Moving on.
Instead, start contemplating how you can provide a home and a lifestyle that your ideal table fits comfortably in.
You gotta give this woman credit. Just when you thought she couldn't get any dumber, she figures out a way to top herself.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Just because you're a woman, you think you can ride the cock carousel into your late 30s, stack up a body count greater than the Clintons, and then pull a pin on the fat grenade. And after all that, you think you deserve to back your fat ass up into some man's house, car, and take over his finances. And why? Because you have innate value as a whammon and vagina. Wham. Miss Craig, I gotta ask you, how does it feel? How does it feel to dump over $100,000 into education and still be weapons grade stupid?
I am the table.
So gentlemen, next time you come across a woman and you think, hey, what does she bring to the table? Remember this episode. There is always a woman out there who thinks she's smarter than you because she comes up with stupid answers like this. But that's why you watch this show, and that is why I do this. Dating is a casino, gentlemen, and women are the house. And in the Western world, the house always wins. When you watch Redonkulous.com, You are counting cards. Just don't get caught. So, Miss Craig, go ahead and keep those high standards. Because let's face it, men are not going to pay top dollar for a worn out, beat up snot pocket. Anyway, gentlemen, that's all I really got for today. Go away. Space Ghost is on. Actually, you know, to be honest with you, the cornhole game, I remember in New York,
I can't do it.
I'm going to a bar, and they're playing the cornhole game out front, and literally I'm not going in there. I can't do it. I can't do it. Like, literally, like, my gaydar's like, boo, boo, boo. No, dive, get away, no.
Run silent, deep.
I remember telling my buddy Sport, I'm like, hey, man, I'm not going in there.
They're cornholing right out there.
He's like, why? I go, they're fucking doing cornhole out there. Fuck that. I should just call it the beanbag in the hole, and I'd be good with it.